How are you, Miss Rojas?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Good.
Thank
Glad
you
to
very much
hear it.
for being here this evening.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
And we're excited about having you. When was I was trying to think of the last time you were on with BHA. That was a while ago.
Well, remember what happened was that I could not be with Dr. Park. And I went and I had to turn around because he was there. And so we could not be together.
That's right.
And that's what happened. So since he has more schools in that area than I do, it was,
All right. Looks like we're just a few seconds away, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I just took a quick screenshot, um, and I'm sure I'll have Abby or one of somebody else from BHA take another shot during the meeting. All right, let me see if I see Ernesto. Hello, Lala. I don't see him yet. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is Sam Joseph. I'm the CEO of the Urban Core Community Coalition. I want to welcome you this evening to our Urban Core School uh, Issues virtual town hall meeting. Before we get started, I want to thank our partners and friends over at Christie House who have always been interested in educating the community about issues around children and the safety of children. And so we always appreciate being able to piggyback back off their line. I also want to thank our keynote speakers. Thank you, Tere Rojas. And later we will be hearing from school board member Lucia Baez-Geller for committing your time. I know last night was a long, not as long as you've had before, but a pretty long meeting. So we appreciate you taking the time. And especially want to thank your staff because really you all are amazing, but your staff is, I know, the folks who keep you on task. Thank you for getting the members here and being before the people. I know we're going to have a little bit later on tonight joining us some members of staffs from some of our other political colleagues and other municipalities. Uh, and so I look forward to highlighting them as they come on. And also our president, I know Ernesto Cuesta, will be joining us in a little bit. I wanted to give just a brief overview of why we're here today, and then I'm going to turn over the agenda to our first keynote speaker. The reason we're here today is obviously the UCCC, or the Urban Core Community Coalition, along with our Urban Core partners, BHA, DNA, and a lot of other community partners, have always thought that education is at the center of a community's success, and particularly the urban core. And that through community education collaborations, getting together, using our voice, that we can not only make our kids better, but also our communities better by having better schools and better programming. We also were left with a very lofty dream and weighty charge by our new Tech Miami mayor, Mayor Francis Suarez, to build a world class education infrastructure to support the Magic City's goal to become the next Silicon Valley, or dream, depending on where you sit in this equation. And so tonight we really start the ball rolling by putting together the plans to get the infrastructure in place to really make that dream come true. But hopefully, we start by fulfilling the promise of an urban core where we can all live, work, play, and learn safely together, which is what we know folks were promised when they moved to the area. So, without further ado, I'm going to pass the agenda over to our first keynote speaker. I wanted to give a little introduction to a school board member, Tere Rojas. Um, uh, just for full disclosure, the school board member and I have known each other since she got into office. We actually worked together uh, in uh, in my personal capacity as the vice mayor for Coral Gables, and we have been working together for the urban core and the urban core's interests since she got into office. She is a tireless and dedicated advocate for education, and particularly for children and educators. And there's nowhere she won't go, no one she won't speak to make sure they know that we have some amazing people doing, as she puts it, God's work out there to take care of our children, and that our kids are in great hands and are being prepared for success. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you to your school board member, um, Tere Rojas, who, by the way, will be the school board member for our new Southside Preparatory Academy Upper Campus. Ms. Rojas, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Sam, for that very, very nice introduction. Good evening to all. And again, I am Tere Rojas, your extremely proud school board member representing District 6 in the areas of Brickell, Coconut Grove, City of Miami, Coral Gables, Kendall, Key Biscayne, Little Havana, Westchester, Shenandoah, and Silver Bluff. It is truly an honor for me to be able to be here with all of you tonight at the Urban Core School Virtual Town Hall meeting. Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph, for inviting me. And also thank you to Mr. Ernesto Cuesta for allowing me to be part of this wonderful forum and to be able to speak about Miami-Dade County Public Schools, the best school system in the entire universe. It is important to go back 15 months, believe it or not. 15 months have passed since the COVID-19 pandemic triggered a considerable shift in the delivery of education. Again, moving teaching remotely in just a few days and causing many challenges for all of our educators. A true paradigm shift did take place. As teachers shifted their content delivery, they also had to shift their pedagogical practices to support learning. Miami-Dade County Public School teachers have accomplished so much. Their work has been absolutely remarkable. As I say many times, teachers are doing God's work on earth, and that is certainly what happened now more than ever before during this period in our lives. They had to go and teach online, some of them face-to-face, and others in a dual modality format, which was extremely difficult and very challenging. At the same time, due to the time constraints, anxieties that were caused by the pandemic, and other issues, there are existing concerns surrounding our summer learning loss, which increased. And there's much worry about the additional time that students have had to spend out of school. How much instruction is provided in the distance learning format, and the student regression and the learning loss in the early grades especially. How children are processing emotional and social responses, sustaining attention, and utilizing memory effectively during these extremely difficult times. These issues simply cannot go ignored. There are also growing equity questions given to the prominent role of technology as a key educational resource for all families learning from a distance. It is fair to say that we have also witnessed an increase in very positive and responsive nurturing care provided to children as parents and or guardians have had to spend much time, increasing amounts of time actually, in homes and have had to be engaged with the work that teachers do on a daily basis. It has been a year full of challenges. Even before this pandemic, I have been very interested in the academic progress of all of our students, especially those that are in the early grades. You know, I usually say, I compare it to a home. If you do not have the proper foundation to a home, it's going to crumble. That house is going to crumble. And that is what we cannot allow to occur to our students, especially those that are in the early years. Those early grades are absolutely critical. And the research clearly indicates that if students are not proficient by third grade, it is extremely hard for them to get back on a successful journey through the rest of their school years. At the board meeting of June 19, 2019, I proffered agenda item H16, which was titled Student Academic Success for First, Second, and Third Grade Students in Miami-Dade County Public Schools. An excellent follow-up presentation was made to all of the board members at the Academics, Innovation, and Technology Committee meeting, which took place on September 25th, 2019. We had a wonderful discussion. The discussion has continued, and our board meeting that was held on March 17, 2021, again, we had the opportunity on that day to address the issue of student regression and early loss in the early pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, first, second, and third grades. Based on this last opportunity that we had to address the agenda item, another presentation was made, and this was at our board meeting. We learned something that was very astonishing. Approximately 40% of our first, second, and third grade students are working through a grade level in math. And over 35% are below grade level in reading in first and second grade. As the district initiates the process for a complete return to in-person learning, Miami-Dade County Public Schools has developed the 2021 summer program 305 Adventure, which will provide the transition again for an exciting return to our full-time in-person student learning for the 2021-2022 school year. This is indeed a robust summer program like we have never seen before. This program was designed to meet the exceptional needs of our students, minimize the learning loss that has been caused by the pandemic, as I alluded to a few moments ago, and also to continue to address our achievement gaps, and also as well to attempt to have many students, as many as possible, on grade level. This is a goal for the board members in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, as well as for our superintendent and all those in our MDCPS family. Miami-Dade County Public Schools will have a very unique challenge to utilize our new federal funds, which have been appropriated to support the needs of students and their families and enhance instructional and our mental health programs, especially the mental health programs that are being offered in our school district. We can't expect our children to excel academically if they are still being confronted with many emotional issues due to a myriad of situations. Many of our children have faced loss of family members. They have seen their parents lose their jobs. They have been dealing with social isolation for a very long time. Some are still dealing with anxiety and depression, as well as many other different symptoms caused because of this pandemic. So we must make that a priority. Mental health is critical so that we can help our students go back on the road to recovery. The American Rescue Plan Act, again passed by the Congress and signed by the President of the United States, addresses the ongoing economic and health crises that have been triggered by this pandemic, and it includes for systemic educational reforms. Miami-Dade County Public Schools is estimated to receive approximately $1.1 billion. The law contains several provisions that will be extremely beneficial to students, educators, and families, especially for students from low-income backgrounds, students with disabilities, those that have English language issues, students experiencing homelessness, and also students of color. This investment in education will allow school personnel, students, parents, and all those in our community to have the opportunity to start a new recovery and a new renewal of educational programs and student support systems in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, reversing, God willing, the learning loss and addressing the achievement gap. And again, helping our students with any anxieties and depression that they have experienced during these such trying times. We must act quickly and strongly as our students return to school full-time and in person in August. And a new vision for the next school year must represent a myriad of new ideas, objectives, strategies, and timelines with an action plan setting a very clear direction for the implementation at the start of the 2021-2022 school year with imagination and much wisdom. This imagination should be something new, out of the box and out of the ballpark. Our children deserve nothing less. The wisdom should, without a doubt, be sending a message that is delivered on how materials and programs are being selected and how the objectives of the program are going to be met. A realistic plan for our teachers, our students, our parents, with open lines of communication at all times and accessibility to everyone who works in the Miami-Dade County Public School System. At yesterday's board meeting, I presented an item for this plan, and I look forward to reviewing it in the coming months. Finally, I'd like to address the district's general obligation bond project. This includes our new Southside Upper School, which again, I am so excited about. As a background, I will start by telling you that nearly half of our district school buildings are over 40 years old. Yes, you heard correctly, over 40 years old. More than 1/3 are at least 50 years old. Since the passing of the general obligation bond in 2012, the district has been committed to transparency, fidelity, sustainability, resiliency, and accountability. And that is exactly what is going to continue to occur. Of the 339 named general obligation projects in the program, 243 have been completed. As of March 31st, 2021, $867 million of our general obligation bond have been expended. This is further categorized into $772 million for facilities improvements and $95 million for technology upgrades, which are greatly needed, especially in the world that we live in today. The program is approximately 72% complete. Now, beyond the bond, approximately, we now have $1.2 billion in capital outlay levy projected from the fiscal year of 21-22 through 25-26, which was given by the state. Our ESSER and ARP relief funds for facilities, indoor air quality, which is critical in so many of our schools, are approximately now $400 million. Our total capital dollars, which are available for the next 5 years, is $1.7 billion from the general obligation bond, and capital millage and ESSER is also going to be available. In District 6, I am proud to say that we will soon see the Brickell Southside Annex with workforce housing. This is going to be a very special day when we can all be there, hopefully together, to celebrate this new addition to Miami-Dade County Public Schools. The facility is currently bidding at this time, and construction is slated to commence within the next few months. I'm happy to report that the opening is scheduled for January 2023, and that the facility will house 610 student stations. I have visited Southside Elementary in the past, and I look forward soon again to welcoming our students into our upper school. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for the invitation to be part of this very important virtual town hall meeting, which is being held this evening. It's clear that, again, although many aspects of our lives have changed in this last year, we remain committed to our students, to our workforce, to our community at large. And as I often say, it's teamwork that makes the dream work. And I look forward to continuing to work with this wonderful team that I have been able to address today. So thank you so much. And I will just end by saying, I heard Sam, you stated at the beginning, education is at the center of our children's success, and you are absolutely 100% correct. And I can assure you that your school board, your superintendent, and the entire workforce knows that our children today are our future leaders of tomorrow. And we will do everything we can to provide a quality educational program of excellence, second to none, to all of our children. So thank you. God bless. And at this time, I'm available for any further conversation you would like to have.
Thank you so much, board member. Just real quick, we're getting a little background noise on your audio. I do have a few questions, just a couple here for you, but I really appreciate your presentation, and as always, you're very informative, and have given us information to chew on for today, but more importantly, to preview for tomorrow, because we know there's a new normal that's coming right around the corner. The first question is actually kind of fits into two parts of your presentation. One about the learning loss, possible learning losses, and remediation, and also our brand new campus, Southside Prep Upper School. Being, as you know, I'm the parent of a child at a K through 8 that has an upper campus model similar to what's going to happen with Southside. Um, what kind of programming or initiatives would you like to see focused on, especially at that middle school level, the upper school level, at Southside Prep Academy? And I ask this because Southside, I preface it by saying Southside is a success because, in big part, because of the Museum Magnet program that it's implemented, which has brought in local community but also outside community. And we know with middle school and the middle school concept, um, we need extra support there. So, what kind of programming or focus would you like to see at the new Southside Prep?
Well, thank you, Sam. And I'd like to first of all start by stating that this is something that we are going to be addressing when we meet with Ms. Sylvia Diaz, who is now at the helm with our academic program development in Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Without a doubt, there are many new initiatives that I would love to be able to see being offered at the new campus. But first and foremost, we have to start with the recovery of the learning loss that has indeed taken place because of the pandemic. We're starting this during the summer session. As I alluded to, summer 305 will be the beginning of acclimating or reacclimating our students and again, our workforce back to Miami-Dade County Public Schools. With that said, we know that for the upcoming year, when these children start coming into the new facility, we're going to have to be able to provide additional assistance, additional interventionists, which will be available to help our children uh, on the road to recovery. I know that we're going to have to provide a lot of help, as I alluded to during my presentation, with the mental health issues. And I'm looking forward to seeing more counselors being placed at the schools and more mental health facilitators that will be able to assist all of the students with all of their needs. I would love to see more bilingual programs being offered for our children in these schools. I would love to also be able to see an opportunity. Technology now is becoming part of everybody's lives 24/7. So offering our children programs that will prepare them for future careers in this technological world that we live in. There is, again, an array of different opportunities that will become available to them, but it's something that we have not discussed as a group yet. So I can go on with many other areas that I personally would like to see, but this is something that we're going to involve everyone in the process with. And I want to have parental input. I want to make sure that our PTSA has involvement there as well. I want to hear from teachers. I want to hear from principals. Again, we want to provide a quality educational program second to none, world-class education to all of our children. I also want to see the arts included because this is an area that to me, to many of our children, is essential for their academic success.
Yep.
So just a myriad of different
Look,
options.
I knew, look, school board member, I knew, like my president Ernesto, if I teed you up, you would give me your opinion, and that's exactly what I wanted to hear. And I also knew that you would mention that you want public opinion and you want parents and the stakeholders to be part of that process. And I think that's what's important to all of my stakeholders. Let me ask you again, and look, I know you all as a board have separate districts, but I know you also pride yourselves on working as a group, as a board, and making decisions for all the children together. So I'm going to ask you, you've got this wonderful franchise in iPrep and also in the International Baccalaureate program. They really are outstanding, world-class programs. Why not franchise those outlets to places like Southside Prep or Booker T. Washington, and have pre-programs in the feeder pattern at Southside Prep and Jose de Diego to really boost those schools, and again provide more access to those wonderful franchises that you all have developed.
Idea to do something like that. And I love to see great programs that are very successful, such as IGRIP, as you just mentioned, being emulated in other schools. We have so many fantastic magnet programs, including the IS, the International Studies Program, which is being offered at schools such as Sunset Elementary, Carver, ISPA. So many options that are available, and absolutely, yes, the more opportunities that we give our children to be able to take part in what is now being offered in schools that have proven to be extremely successful in every sense of the word, such as IPREP. I would love to see us being able to emulate programs of that nature in new facilities and in feeder patterns that are not just necessarily where they are today. And this is something that I have addressed actually, and I have brought up in previous years because we have many, many successful programs that I firmly believe emulated elsewhere will allow those children to have just as much success in other areas of our district. And again, all of our areas, 9 districts, all of them should have all these opportunities.
I love it. I love it. SAS is a wonderful model. #1 school in the state, and #5 in nation, and 5 campuses throughout your 9 districts. And I think, again, opportunities for franchising. Here's another question on that kind of same model. We have this wonderful Southside Prep model that's bringing us the new upper campus. And what I love about it is the partnership that is being modeled, in that we have so many different entities and municipalities getting together to solve problems for children and for families. Why couldn't we replicate that at Phyllis Wheatley or Dunbar, or maybe at the new government center project that's being proposed for a Flagler area? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think any program, Sam, can be replicated. There has to be a discussion. You have, and this is exactly why we have an entire department that deals with, again, the academic programs that are offered at our schools. This is something that is a discussion piece for board members, for principals, for regions to be engaged in. An idea, for example, can come even from a person, a stakeholder in our community. There are many, many fabulous opportunities in different areas of interest to our students. And so, yes, you can replicate it, absolutely. It just has to be a discussion piece. There's also a very important component, Sam, and that has to do with, of course, the funding availability for implementation of certain programs, because I'll explain to you, a program such as the one at Sunset Elementary School requires those teachers and those students to stay an additional hour in school every single day. Then it also requires for you to have teachers that come in from abroad, from Spain, from Germany, from France, to teach the children. All this has a financial component that has to be looked at prior to implementation. So yes, anything is a possibility for any of our schools. We just have to make sure that we're tenacious in any program that we would like to see. We can address that at our PTA meetings, PTSA meetings. We can address that again with our principals of our schools. We can address that with our region superintendents, region directors, district administration. Give us your ideas, and if it can be implemented, and it's for the good of our children, because again, that's the reason why we are all here. And every decision we make, we have to keep in mind that we have to do what is in their best interest. Of course, we have to also be realistic, and funding has to be available to be able to emulate certain programs, but nothing is out of the question here. Everything is a possibility.
I'm going to let you go on this last question. You and I tomorrow morning are going to be taking part in the School Community Relations Committee meeting, the Coral Gables Education Committee meeting. The city of Miami, a couple of years ago, got rid of their education committee. Could you tell us briefly what is the benefits and the importance of having a municipality have a voice in the educational process?
Absolutely. I think it is imperative to have true success, to have an open line of communication with all of our stakeholders. And that includes our governmental entities that have been so instrumental in so many of the wonderful programs that we are able to offer our children. And for example, in the Gables, you and I have worked cohesively on a myriad of opportunities for our children, for our teachers, for our administrators, and our City Beautiful in Coral Gables has been so involved and has put education at the forefront, because everything in our future depends on what happens now and how we prepare our children. And it is a win-win for everyone to have that open relationship. Those meetings that we are engaged in are very beneficial to all of the members, who then go back to their communities and they are able to get us funding for additional scholarships. As you and I both know, we just went to a beautiful event, and so many of our needy students were able to get scholarships to amazing institutions. And that was done with the assistance of those stakeholders in our community who have been engaged due to having this type of opportunity. So I would certainly hope that this is something that is reinitiated. I don't think there is any committee that is more important, honestly, than the education committee, because that is our future. And so I personally plan on having a follow-up conversation with some members in the city of Miami to try to see if that can be reinstituted. We have it in the Gables, we have it in Key Biscayne as well, and it's gone beautifully there. The same support and the same involvement and participation and putting children first has proven to be very successful in those that have this type of setting. So yes, Sam, to your question, I certainly believe it's beneficial, and I hope that we're able to see it there as well as in the other communities that we currently have these wonderful committees.
Madam School Board Member, in a consummate pro, and as I said, I'm just a good pitcher. I laid out over the plate, and you hit the home run every single time. Thank you very, very much. We will be following up with you because we want to have your back when you contact the city officials about the committee, because we have been talking about it for several years. And let me leave on this note saying it's not just, as you said, it's critical for the future, but it's also critical for today. Because as you know, the first question that's asked before folks move into a new city is what are the schools and how good are they?
Yes.
And the City Beautiful never has to worry about that question. because we have some of the best schools in the nation. So I think the Magic City could do more and could do better, but we need them to push and work a little. Thank you so much, Madam School Board Member.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. And remember, teamwork makes the dream work. So when I go, I would love to have several of you right there next to me so we can let them know how beneficial something like this would be in their city as well. God bless to all. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful rest of the town hall meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, just so you know what's happening, because of sunshine laws, the school board member, Ms. Rojas, could not appear with Ms. Baez-Geller at the same meeting. They're not allowed to discuss items outside of the school board meetings. So we are going to pause for just a minute as I get Ms. Baez-Geller up to deck. But while I'm doing that, I will tell you, please, if you have any questions, comments, or ideas that you'd like to share with our speakers, please send them through the chat or the Q&A. Both school board members are very, very open and transparent people and would love to answer any questions that you have. I will be back with you in a minute. Look at that, as if on cue. There she is. How are you, Ms. Baez-Geller?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very good. Thank you so much for being right on time and on schedule. It's great to have you here this evening with us.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. And I'm going to say the same thing I said to School Board Member Rojas. I know you had a long meeting last night, so I'm even more appreciative of your time and your energy this evening to speak with us. I just wanted to give a little brief introduction of you and the quite busy work you've been doing with the urban core and the stakeholders here. Ms. Baez-Geller hit the ground running. She started working with our organizations prior to even being elected in office. First of all, by coming as a candidate and really talking to us about what her ideas were for our area and really showing us the spirit of what we all love about educators, that they are problem solvers. They're going to do whatever it takes for their constituents, which are the children, and they do it from a place that doesn't come of any need of recognition or honor, but just get things done for my kids. And we've seen it already with Lucia, as we call her now. And we've had several meetings with Ms. Baez-Geller. I've actually been very impressed at the access that we've had with your office, and very impressed and look forward to the future. So without further ado, and because I don't want to keep gushing on her, because I want her to stay honest with us, I introduce you to Miss Lucia Baez-Geller.
I really appreciate that really nice intro. Thank you, Mr. Joseph. And it's great to be here with all of you. And it's really been a pleasure working with everybody here at the Urban Core. And I'm very honored to be here. And I'd like to acknowledge my colleague, Miss Tere Rojas, which I'm sure you had a great conversation with her as well. And I really like to see her at work. It's really an honor to serve alongside people like her. And it's an honor to be able to address stakeholders here today in the Urban Core. So as Mr. Joseph said, I'm Lucia Baez-Geller. I have the honor of serving as your school board member in District 3, which represents mostly in the Urban Core parts of Brickell. And I really enjoy coming to you all, speaking to you all, but I also really enjoy listening as well, as Mr. Joseph was saying. And I did have the pleasure of participating in the Brickell Homeowner Association Education Forum in January. And as you mentioned, Mr. Joseph, we have had many follow-up conversations since then, not just with me, because I'm not the expert, but also with district staff and with different representatives who have really taken an interest in listening to these issues. And like you mentioned just last week, we did facilitate an in-house kind of meeting on urban core issues, which included members of the school district, staff, the BHA, which you represented, and members of the DNA. And prior to my service, as you said, I did enjoy also going to your town halls and hearing more. And it's really been an exciting opportunity. And for those of you that don't know me, I have been a part of Miami community for over 34 years. I grew up in Miami Beach and also taught for 15 years at Miami Beach Senior High, where I had the pleasure of meeting thousands of students. And I still have a great relationship with most all of them. I credit my win to the hard work of the students who supported me and got the word out. And actually my assistant, my administrative assistant, is also one of my students. So we like to keep it in the family. And now the Urban Core is part of my family. And that's, you know, how we treat family. We want to make sure that they're okay. And that's why I put in the time and the work and the effort to come back to you all to see you. And even though we kind of talk a lot about different issues, it's really about taking action, and taking action is what I do. So I was involved as a teacher in many advocacy efforts, improving our education system. And I was able to fight not just here at the school site with the district, but also in Tallahassee and in DC with organizations such as the Teachers Union, the League of Women Voters, the Association of Latino Administrators, and many more. So that's a little bit about me. I was elected in November. And like I said, it's been great hearing more about the downtown issues. So when it comes to the issues, I guess we're going to get into it. I spoke very much with district officials to kind of learn more about the area. And a lot of it comes from the information is coming from the district central region superintendent, Dr. Lewis, who's really a great man. And also our deputy superintendent, Jim Torrance, who was also in the meeting last week and kind of gave us a breakdown of the investments in the area. So I'm going to quickly kind of go through these investments. They total right now about $60 million. So before we get into more, I do want to kind of give a historical background of what has been invested in Brickell and downtown. So in Southside, we've seen the completion of Building 4, which includes an eating area. There's a new media center, very important. We've replaced 2 buildings with 5 new classrooms, and there's 1 building with 3 new classrooms in the main office area. There was a new outdoor dining, like I said, and there's been improvements with air conditioning and heating, as well as hardware replacements. Our facilities department completed upgrades in lighting. We've had security and surveillance enhancements. We removed the portables, thank goodness, which I believe I was told were World War I era portables, as crazy as that may sound. And then of course we made upgrades to classroom technology. This entire school has been painted at Southside. The roof has been repaired. They built a parking garage below ground. And there were a number of other projects, including the playground replacement and hardcore restoration. Sorry, I'm reading these off to you. We also converted the old media center into 2 new classrooms, and wherever window replacements were needed, they were also done. And then of course, the big project that we all know about and are very happy to support, the expansion of Southside student stations for a K through 8, which brings the total number of seats to 1,400 at Southside. And the expansion will physically be in my colleague's district, who you met, Ms. Tere Rojas, but the students will most probably be in my district, which of course is confusing, but we're gonna keep working on these situations. as they come along. But the reason I mention these is because a lot of these happened through partnerships, through a series of conversations. And so I want everyone to know that these conversations that we're having, that we've mentioned with the BHA, the DNA, with staff, it's a step in the right direction. Everything I just mentioned came from conversations, and especially with district and county staff collaborating and putting forth proposals to the board and finalizing negotiations. In terms of this current fiscal year, there were $300,000 for renovations. And in 2023-24 school year, there will be capital plan projects in the amount of $6 million, which includes the cafeteria. I'm also aware in the area, there's a charter school being built. We don't have all of the information right now, but I do recognize that the charter school arose out of a need that has been demonstrated and has been advocated by the parents in the community who felt their needs were not being met. And so even though, of course, traditional public schools is what I've dedicated my life to, I do recognize the need to ensure that every student has quality access to education. And I recognize where the need for these charter schools came from. But most importantly, we do have great talent. We have two great rookie teachers that we in the downtown area. For Southside, it's Miss Karina Hernandez, who has been employed for 3 years at Southside, and she heads an all-girl robotics team, and they just won a whole bunch of competitions this year. And her philosophy is that everyone has something to contribute in a classroom. Similarly, at SAS downtown, our rookie teacher of the year there is a passionate English teacher, which I was in my time at Beach High. And she says that every day she wakes up feeling joy to see her students and that she learns from them, which I could definitely agree with that. So for all of our students, we need to look not just at where we've been, but what we're doing now and how we're going to transition firstly from this pandemic virtual world and back into a traditional schoolhouse. And clearly we need to focus on learning loss. I know my colleagues and I are focused on that. And we recognize not just the learning loss, but also the trauma and the fact that we have to tend to the whole child when they get back. And we recognize that we need to make it fun, because I think our kids have been probably a little bored over the last year or so, and they've been emotionally impacted. So we are partnering with many organizations. We just did for the Summer 305 programs. We've partnered with the Children's Trust to provide things such as socio-emotional components, foreign language immersion, entrepreneurs, guest speakers, creative writing, and more. So we want to keep that mentality of thinking outside the box when it comes to educating our children. We also want to build on the success of the partnerships that led us to this moment. And like I said, I do believe that the success of the Southside expansion is absolutely a step in the right direction of what partnerships, conversations, and creative solutions. And that Southside expansion is a very creative solution. It will require partnerships. It will require space. We need to find space. It will require facilities, upgrades. It will require the community, pretty much. But the most important thing that we need is honesty. And we need to be honest. And that's something that I stand for as an educator. And it's why I ran for office. Because many of the frustrations, I was not a Brickell resident, I'm a Miami Beach resident, but many of those frustrations with not getting the answers that you seek, examining different board items, knowing what's going on behind closed doors, that was something that I could relate to. And now I'm on the other side, and I see that with reaching out, communication, we could have a smooth transition in this area and across the district. But we need to have the honesty needs to be at the core. So aside from these updates of where we've been, I do want to tell you, I have been able to participate in strategic plans regarding academics, and I will continue to elicit information, feedback from everybody here and hear about your concerns. And just as I close, I understand I'm ultimately here to serve you. I'm a public servant, and that's why I put my time and energy into meeting with you all, being with you, and making sure that the goals that we set in these conversations, that we accomplish them together. So thank you for having me here today. And I look forward to hearing from you all. As Mr. Joseph said, I'm very easy to get in touch with. You can always email us at district3@dadeschools.net or call our office at 305-995-1369. And please invite me to your community. I love going downtown. I love seeing everything. And I'm truly excited to continue building this relationship with all of you. And I do think that we will have some wins soon as a community as a whole. So thank you very much.
Ms. Baez-Geller, thank you so much. We really appreciate the updates. And look, we've already got wins. We have this new campus that's going to open in 2023 that we're very, very excited about. And thank you for what I really appreciate is you setting the context for how we move forward in terms of a partnership and relationship to get those wins. And as you said, it starts at a place of honesty and being able to talk frankly with one another, and then rolling up our sleeves, everyone, not just bringing problems, but everyone rolling up our sleeves to get the solutions we want, to get to get those solutions that we want. So I have a couple questions for you, and then I promise I will let you go. The first one actually is falls into our new Southside Prep upper school, and for me, focusing again around the partnership model that was developed to come up with the solution, because know that solution was 31 years in the coming and 7 years in the present, in discussions through many iterations, as you already know.
Yes, I looked it up. It was a lot. Yes, a lot of conversations.
One of the things I love about the district is you're very good about taking successful models and replicating them. Why not take this model and replicate it? And you mentioned it kind of briefly in your remarks, for other areas of the urban core that are having the same problems that Brickell has had for over 30 years. You could go to Edgewater, you could go to Little Haiti, you could go to Midtown. You're going to hear all the same issue. So why not use this successful model to alleviate some of those issues for some of those areas, like the CBD downtown area?
Yeah, well, I mean, what you guys have that makes things go around is you have great, strong advocates that are persistent, and we have that. But I think what we need are multiple options. It's great to replicate, but we have that kind of idea to do that. But we need to have the actual seats secured for everybody. It's great to have a model, but we want to make sure that there are options for people. And we don't want to put in, like, force everybody to one solution. I think we need to provide multiple options and have the community decide. I don't know that we can just say, this is what we're going to do. It would be great if it was that easy, but how are we going to together collaborate to make sure that the solution we have works now, and that it's not a temporary solution, or that it's not something that will affect only a few people? We want comprehensive solutions, and we want options. And we also want to strengthen the relationship. So it shouldn't just be one model. I think it should be multiple, and then identifying what options are going to kind of narrow or close the gap in the CBD. There's clearly a gap. I'm very concerned with the idea that there's all this overlap of districts. Nobody's really sure where the CBD belongs. That's concerning. And so I would like to get to the bottom of that. And there's a willingness to look at that and look at the overlap and then collect data and then have a timeline. So there are very structured ways, but we can't just start with a model. We got to start with the research, I would say, which I know you have already, but now that we have the research, let's make a proposal, let's put it out there, let's have a few options.
Definitely. No, and look, we knew if it was that easy, it would have happened 31 years ago. But no, we know that. And actually, let's stay on that line of questioning because you mentioned about making sure all of the stakeholders are involved in the process because it's not about fulfilling the needs of one neighborhood or another. It's really about taking care of the urban core and predominantly the city of Miami's need to have access in their neighborhoods to high quality public school seats, real seats, as you said, not promises, but seats we can count on, point to, and say, that's yours. So let's stay on that model. We when I was at BHA, got a very disturbing statistic about the local usage of schools, particularly in the Overtown area, that fewer than 30% of the locals were attending the local school. So again, we ask, how do we strengthen that feeder pattern of schools? Because we know that it doesn't work on schools in your neighborhoods. It works around feeder patterns and the districts. How do we work to strengthen the feeder pattern so that the locals, along with folks who live nearby, will actually start using the assets that are there?
I love that. I love what you're saying about strengthening the feeder pattern, and that makes sense to me. There's been so many plans for building capacity, and it seems like a lot of them get turned down, or there's hope in the horizon, and then we take 3 steps back is what it seems like, because it's a process. I feel like getting that solid idea of where we're going. I think it's just building momentum in the area, truly, because there are a lot of great templates to follow. Actually, like you said, aside from that, there's a lot of templates of magnet schools. There's a lot of templates of having different programs that are really highly liked, that people want in their schools and they want to see. But I think what we can't be doing is replicating our efforts. You know, I feel like sometimes with this issue, we keep going back to square one all the time. Like, I would like to, in the next 3 years that I have left, see it move the conversation to the next level through these partnerships we're creating, through different conversations, and seeing who we need to bring to the table, because it could be that the enrichment for these schools is going to come from an outside organization. Maybe NASA is going to come, you know, like we don't know where the enrichment is going to come from. And that's what we really need to do, is build momentum, enrich, and then move the conversation forward. Because I kind of feel like all the conversation about what we're going to do to have a solid path, they get turned down, and then we have to start all over again. Right. And hopefully in the next 3.5 years we can at least get to the next step. And I do have a lot of understanding of what is attractive to parents. I know that. So at the very least, we can start getting these projects, these programs off the ground, strengthening what we have, and then finding a path forward so that we can have something solid, I guess, is the most important thing.
Perfect. Look, the other issue that I wanted to talk to you about was obviously the new upper campus coming, and you mentioned the holes in the districting process, and that it's not just CBD, Park West, downtown. There are a lot of different areas in your 9 districts where they meet, where there's just these little black holes where it's either a little neighborhood or a municipality is not being served the way they should. I know you're right now undergoing a redistricting process. Is this issue being discussed, and will specifically the issue of the CBD, Park West neighborhood downtown be resolved, hopefully, with this redistricting process that you guys are undertaking?
Well, I will certainly be a voice in that. I mean, there's currently 3 board members for this one tiny area of Miami. So that's certainly something that needs to be brought up. I know that it's a very streamlined process where every board member gets to put in input for the redistricting. It's come up in the last few board meetings. We anticipate it will be happening between October to December. December is the deadline. And it's a comprehensive process. There's a list of steps that need to put, and the CBD will be at the top of my list, because what we're doing is we are undermining a lot of our goals in the community by leaving people out, leaving people off the table. And that certainly does not align with the values of MDCPS that I know that they hold. So we're going to be pushing to make sure that these areas are being, identified, and that we're reporting on them. And I personally would like to know the factors of how they were ever left out. And that's something that when we meet with the experts, there's a team that will be hired, I believe, out of Fort Lauderdale, who will be walking us through this process. And this will certainly be something, there's going to be multiple ways to address this in the future with the redistricting board, but it's going to be on the top of my list as we transition forward.
I got a quick question here from a parent, and then I have one last one, and I'll let you go. The Summer 305 program is offering algebra and, of course, prep. Would you know, is that a class course going to be, is that class or course going to be physical or virtual?
Well, that is found online on the Summer 305 Date School's website. You can actually look at your school site. They have a pull down list, and it tells you everything, whether it'll be in person, virtual. I'm happy to share that, Mr. Joseph, with you, and you can send it out to your constituent.
And your guy Mateo is so with it. I'm sure he's going to put it in the chat, the link, and we'll get it out to everybody. I'm going to let you go on this, school board member. You are very accessible, very much wanting public input, and very much wanting to work with municipalities. I follow you on Instagram and Twitter, and it tires me. Like our Tech Miami mayor, you're everywhere in every community and at every event. The city of Miami 2 years ago or 3 years ago decided to get rid of their education committee. Could you speak, having attended the Miami Beach Education Committee meetings and now serving so many municipalities, going to their meetings and the relationships you've built with them, could you speak to the benefits and the importance of having an education committee or some kind of relationship with the municipality, and what does that bring to you and to them?
Oh, absolutely. For me, the partnership with the city of, I believe you're referring to the Miami Beach Quality Education Committee. What I see as the benefit 100% is twofold. It's advocacy and it's fundraising. Because wherever the input or the feedback is showing the parent concerns, part of that committee is to then advocate. They write to their legislators, they write to the district, they write. I've actually been in a meeting where they say, we're going to do a mailing campaign to you, Lucia. And I'm like, great, bring it. It's fine. But it's a sense of shared responsibility. And I think that's the most important part, is that the schools is not just the parents' problem. So if I don't have kids, it's not my problem, right? And it's not just the school board or the staff. It's the city stepping up and kind of coming into the space of education from a place of helping, not critiquing, not tearing down, but building up, and also raising concerns, of course, but opening up conversations in a space that offers solutions. And that's what I like about the QEC.
Sorry about that, I was muted. Excellent. As I mentioned with Tere Rojas, I love working with professionals. I just tee it up and then you all give it. Thank you so much. And you mentioned it, and I want to highlight it. It's not, again, about a feel good to have these committees. The first thing that movers ask, and especially business professionals and tech professionals, are what are your schools like? And look, it affects our property values. If you want a bottom line issue, doesn't matter whether you have kids or not. You want great schools because you want your property values to go up. Right now, the city of Miami can't make any promises to its neighborhoods, its families, its stakeholders, that it can bring those property values up because we don't have the infrastructure that we're selling to the rest of the world. Miss Lucia Baez-Geller, we appreciate your time, your service, your passion for what you do and for our kids. Thank you for staying active with us and keeping us engaged. We look forward to having your back when we meet with the City of Miami officials to push and say it's time to reinstitute the Education Committee. But thank you for your service, and we'll be seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much. And the summer website is there for everyone to check out. And I look forward to continuing this conversation and the work.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mateo. You're also the man. I know you're going to probably hang out and finish up with us. But thank you for all you do and for getting the member here for us. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight was about offering you an opportunity to meet the people who represent you and your children and your families, and now your financial interests. And we wanted to get a little report on what was going on, and I appreciate having them here to give us that. But it's really incumbent on us to stay engaged and stay informed and to push to make sure that our issues are addressed. So if you do have any additional questions, comments, ideas you'd like to share with the school board members, please put them in the chat. This meeting is being recorded, and the chat is also being documented. And any questions we didn't ask today, we'll follow up with later. That's our promise here at the Core. I wanted to give you guys a brief preview of the upcoming Urban Core Education Forum, the 2021-22 Education Forum. It's tentatively scheduled for Saturday, November 20th. It will be our first time being back in person in 2 years. We'll be hosting at Miami-Dade College's Wilson campus's Chapman Conference Center. We are going to keep it a hybrid event, and so we will have a virtual component and virtual programming, but we'll be live and in person on campus. We're changing the format a little bit. It's going to be a fun family fair atmosphere. We're going to have educational and business sessions for adults in the classrooms, and then hands-on and minds-on activities and programming for kids, so folks can bring their family out and have a great Saturday of it. We're also going to be highlighting our school projects. We're going to do some interactive, hopefully some augmented reality site visits to the new school projects, not just the upper school, but also the Matter Academy School. We'll also be discussing programming plans and doing more of the input that our school board members mentioned into making sure that we have the very best campus opening up in January of 2023. I wanted to give you a couple calendar highlights before the summer comes. June 17th, we're going to be holding our Urban Core Virtual Candidates Forum. We will be having candidates from the school board, the Miami-Dade County Board of County Commission, and most importantly, City of Miami elections. The mayor is up, and a few of the commission seats are up, and so we're going to have the candidates in a forum January 17th, to be at from 6 to 8. That's going to be virtual. We'll be in hiatus from July and August, and then we'll be back in September with another candidates forum, hopefully a whittled down feel, on September 8th. I wanted to look and see if any of our other partners were around and wanted to give us some calendar updates. I see we have some folks from the Downtown Neighbors Alliance. I don't know if anybody wants to give an update, shout out, calendar listing, Joy or Itai.
Yes, thank you so much, Sam. First of all, for coordinating this session. It was great to hear from our school board members. And as school board member Lucia Baez-Geller mentioned, we're in the midst of some planning discussions that we're very optimistic about. And we are really relying on her to push these forward to ensure that the CBD and Park West residents that we represent have schools to attend. And we will participate in all of the UCCC upcoming events. And I'd also like to share that the Downtown Neighbors Alliance is going to be hosting a community day on June 4th in Bayfront Park, right near the fountain. All of the details are on the Miami Downtown Neighbors Alliance Facebook page. And we hope that everybody will come out for ice cream with a cop and some other fun activities.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Joy. I look forward to being there. Guys, we're really trying to, as much as we can, organize the core and really get to know what's going on with one another and support one another and our efforts. So come on out. I know we're going to be having discussions about scooters. Everybody's having scooter issues, and we want to see what we can do about dealing with that issue. I see we have a member of the Brickell for Schools advocacy group on. Lala, you want to give an update? You have any calendar updates or listings?
Hi, Sam. Thank you. Thank you for hosting this. It was great to hear from our school board members. Haven't had the chance to meet Ms. Geller personally, but everything she's saying is we've been doing up to now. So I'm just very happy to see that, to see all the work continued. No calendar for now. Just very excited to hear about all the progress and everything that's coming up, and that education forum. Totally looking forward to that one.
Thank you so much, Lala. Look, as I told the board member, it's been years and a lot of years, but we can count on some successes. Some folks have been in this fight for too long. Lala never got to see or use this brand new campus that was coming. I still will never forget our first meeting and us talking about the fact your kids will probably never see it, but we're going to make it happen, and it's almost there. I see we have some folks on from our friends at Miami-Dade College. Josh Young, any updates, anything we should know about coming up at the college, Josh?
Oh, wow, Sam, I'm not sure. No, I don't have any updates, but this was a great forum today. I really appreciate it. Great job.
Thank you so much.
I'll check with President Gonzalez and get back to you.
No problem. You know, we're
all
all
right
here. Send it to us and we'll get it out.
All right. Thank you.
You got it. Mateo, you have anything you need to get out? Any calendar dates or listings?
Not exactly. We just had the board meeting last night, as you guys know, and it was a very interesting, lots of commentary about everything going on. We have our upcoming meeting, I think is June 23rd. Yes, it's our next school board meeting. And this year, a lot of our schools participate in microgrants that we distributed. They did their applications. They're all receiving their funds now after Teacher Appreciation Week. And so any schools that did participate by now have heard back from me and either have the funds or it's being processed right now. And we're gearing up for graduation. We're reaching out to all of our schools and making sure that despite a year of remote learning for some and in person for others, I have a cousin, he's in Bay Harbor right now. And every day he's remote, so he's been going at it. And like they're having the car parade, so we're finding ways to make sure that we're able to reach out to all of our students, because not everyone's having drive-throughs, not everyone's having in-person. So we're just finding making sure that we're able to reach out to our schools and that the kids feel celebrated, because they definitely have been a class of resilience this year.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Mateo, thank you for your service. We appreciate you and all that you do. I want to close with this, folks. First of all, I want to remind you, please take a look at our website. You can Google us at UC3 Miami, but it's uc3miami.org. Please go take a look. We love to have you at our events, but tell 10 friends about us and what we're doing. We're trying to build a coalition, a strong coalition, so that we have a very strong voice to build the urban core that we were promised. But we can only do that with people, lots of people, to make that voice strong. And now, after Citizens United, we also need to do it with money. We need to do it with cash. So please go find out how you can be part of the movement for change in Miami, our Change Miami campaign. We hope to see you in June at the candidates forum. But even if we don't, please make sure you're engaged, you're informed, and you participate. Thank you for being here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Sam.